Good morning, gentlemen.
SaBBaTh. I'm expecting the stream to go live so quickly. Nothing but the best production around here. Well, we got our work cut out for us. We got some pretty good snow last night. Let's just jump into it here. Engage. Just fueled up. Good morning, Mr. William. How's our audio today? Give me a number on a scale of 1 to 10. Always trying to improve the world's best live stream production. Ten out of 10. You can't beat that. I'll take the 9.5. Good morning, Mr. Tony. Good to see you here. I'm getting all canted here. Yeah, it's feeling better today. Had a really good night's sleep last night. Thank you for asking. And every day feel better. A lot better. It's a chilly 24 degrees this morning. Got several inches of snow overnight. Jeremy said they had the snow apocalypse. Don't know where that is. Myrtle Beach? Where's Myrtle Beach? Don't know. You know, I'm an American. Geography is not our strong point. Gabriel says 26 there. Yeah, we're 24, 25 when I left the house. Cape Cod. Big storm coming. I heard there's something big coming on the East Coast. Weather manipulation, no doubt. Goodness, we have a super chat from our brother, Mr. Brannon Kogan. Brannon says, didn't think my message went through yesterday, but I'm currently saving up for a proper travel IFAC from Refuge Medical, traveling for work. Yeah, I think that those are my favorite kits, and they seem to just be getting better and better. And knowing, you know, I got to meet Bear, I guess it was last year, and I just think the world of those guys. They run an excellent business. They're very honest, and they really want to make the best kits that's available, and they really have a lot of experience. Everything matters to them, even the bags, the choice of everything. So that's a good choice. You just can't not get better, in my opinion. Refuge Medical does the best first aid kits, IFACs, etc. Boy, it is very slippery out today. I almost threw a yard sale just coming out to the shop. Snow is falling. Super cold in Alberta. Goodness, 0 degrees. That's pretty cold. Almost too cold to snow. Around here, that snow seems to like that about 25 to 30 degree temperature. Goodness, we have a super chat from our brother Jamie. Shout out to you, Jamie. Thank you for your generosity. Jamie says, sitting here with my little one at TradCon drinking coffee. Cheers, brother. Isn't it nice to have the Sabbath day, sit with your family, have morning coffee? It's one of the pleasures of life. Thank you, Jamie. Good to see you back. All right, let us proceed here. Well, the snowblower, I believe, is 8 feet, so it matches the width of the tracks. Put the fries in the bag, yes. We don't want to hear your BS, just put the fries in the bag. Another contribution from Gen Z. Happy Sabbath, Engineer 1075, and Mr. Tony, good to see you here. We are putting the fries in the bag, gentlemen. Very flat light this morning. 24 degrees currently. Good morning, Mr. Josh. And David, good to see you here, David. Make it up the slope. Very slippery. Yeah, the snowblower, it gets after it. It wasn't working all that great when I first got the cat, and then I got to do some checking, and the cat wasn't able to provide enough GPM or gallons per minute, enough flow in the hydraulic system. So I took it in, and fortunately there was an upgrade available from CAT to go to a high flow rate. So I had the high flow rate kit installed on it, and then it really woke it up. It made it awesome. How does it do in crushed stone? Well, I blow more dirt in crushed stone than I do snow, and it seems to keep working, so it's pretty well built. It's the Cadillac of snowblowers. No, I took the ice studs off the cat. They just weren't necessary. The problem I have with the ice studs is they tear up your shop floor terribly. If you're going to use them, you want to go forward and back. You don't want to do spinnies on your shop floor. I think we should, actually I need to go plow the road down to the cabin. How about, or not the cabin, but the war camp. We'll head on down there here in a minute. How many miles per hour for a track loader? I don't know. Top speed is probably 7 or 8 miles an hour, maybe. They're not built for speed. I haven't been cold plunging since I got sick, but I plan on starting back once I get my feet under me. Hop in the river. Oh, you know I would, but I didn't bring my shorts. Yeah, this is a 246 D3. I thought it was a D3, but I see on the sticker it says D4. So I don't know what the different series mean. Am I visiting California anytime soon? When the wildland fires broke out, I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind of going down there for a week or two and helping with the cleanup. I could take the skid loader down there and my dump trailer. I was just thinking I was going to reach out to, if I had any subscribers in Malibu that could use some help, we could get a couple guys down there and help them. But it seems that, I don't know, I get the impression that California is slow walking everything and trying to discourage people. Even if you went down there, if you didn't have all the licenses and weren't like a California contractor, they'd probably fine you, wouldn't even let you in to go do any work. So I don't know. I'd have to get more information on that. But I don't have any other plans to go down. All right, we're gonna have to break through some pretty nasty crust here to get on the road. So we're gonna go nice and slow. The cabin is good. The cabin is mostly done. The interior is 100% done. No, we need to do the floors and such, but basically I gotta do the casements on the exterior of the windows, but I'm gonna do that in the spring. We need to chink it, and that's basically it. Finish the woodwork to the the coatings on the woodwork is still raw inside, but all stuff for the spring. But it's totally livable. Mr. Peter's living in there full time now. He really likes it. Yeah, Mrs. W and I are still talking about the song. Yeah, we're in some deep snow now. All right, so engineers telling us that the 246 D3 has an operating speed of 7.7 miles an hour. That's what my guess was. If it's the 2-speed, it will go 11. Okay, I do have the 2-speed, so I guess I was wrong. So it will go 11 miles an hour in rabbit mode. You got rabbit mode and turtle mode. Well, we got a lot of snow here. Honk the horn. We have a super chat from our brother, Mr. Larry Jackson. Shout out to you, Larry. Thank you for your generosity. Larry says, just ordered an EcoFlow Delta 2 off your recommendation, off the brand. Thank you for, yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good choice. We live and die by those things around here. We really do. They are so handy. I was mentioned on the last video I did for them. I do not think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I do not remember using my Honda I haven't used my Honda 2000 in a long time since I've had those Deltas. They really have replaced it for me, so that's a good choice. How stoked are you? Get that coming. That's a nice purchase. All right, let us proceed. Gravel, I can hear it. Question on alcohol. Here's my policy with alcohol. I don't have it in the house. Don't drink it in the house. If I, on occasion, if I go out to a nice dinner or someone's doing a toast or something like that, I'll make an exception to go out occasionally, but very rarely. We have a super chat. Goodness, hold on. From Jacob. Shout out to you, Jacob. Jacob says, you're gonna watch UFC 312? I follow it kind of loosely. I think it's a good, entertaining sport to watch, but I don't know. I have no idea exactly what that means. Who's the headliner? Who's fighting? Is that Sean Strickland? What's the big fight? Or is it a big deal or just an ordinary one? Why I'm getting in the gravel so bad. I have the thing trimmed out pretty flat. What's going on here? It's not as crowned as it should be. That's something that I could improve upon a little bit. But it doesn't really matter if it sheds water. It's out in the middle. This road goes through an irrigated field, so it's always underwater, or at least once a week. So it's kind of pointless. I'm crossing over the culvert right now. Goodness gracious, what's going on with this gravel? Oh, Strickland, yeah, I've seen a little bit of it. Strickland, he's a strange dude. Well, he's tough. I wouldn't want to fight someone like that. But he's a very kind of boring fighting style. I like him, but I don't know what it is, but I always feel kind of unsatisfied after watching him. It's not as bad as those wrestlers from Dagestan, but I like to see a brawler. Like give me a tough guy like the Diaz brothers. Those guys are cool. I like Nate Diaz. Yeah, I don't know much about that fighting or the styles, but every time I watch Strickland, it just seems so boring. Maybe someone could explain that. Maybe is it his style, or maybe it's just because he's smart and he protects himself. I don't know. Thank you, Che. Appreciate that. Well, I'm hard to see the road. It's light so flat here. looking good though. Good morning, Kendall. Mr. Martin. In fact, there's a piece of cordwood right at the road. Feel those impellers chomping on something. Good morning, Mr. Trevor. Montana or Tennessee for 1 month. Would I choose it? Probably not. I'd rather live where I'm at. Why would I go there for a month? Goodness, we have a super chat. Shut it down for Mr. Ron Swanson. Shout out to you, Ron. Thank you for being so generous. Ron writes, Cody, how do you deal with kids growing up? Mine are 8 and 10. It's good to see, but it's also I'm only going to miss the little ones. Yeah, it is. We all have the same problem. You know, everyone tells you, the old people, is savor it because it'll be over so quickly. It really was. You know, I was playing Thomas the Train with the Sweet Loaf the other day. She's adopted a lot of Jack's toys, and we were just on the carpet doing tracks and just going over all the different characters. And you know, these are the same trains that Jack and I played with when he was just a little boy. Now he's a 20-year-old man. It seems like a couple of years ago. Just be in the moment. It's hard for fathers, especially with the pressure and the strain that we have, and how expensive everything is. You really have to dedicate a lot of your time to working. But I guess the advice that I would give you is I would work a little bit less and really enjoy that time. It's hard for men because there's just so much pressure to provide resources, and that's when you're in your building stage, you know, when you're in 30s and 40s. But just be smart with your time, be efficient, get up early, get the work done you need to do, manage your time, and you can squirrel away a lot of time being on the internet and on your phone and on TikTok, and you just have to be disciplined and just make sure that you have time to sit down, do the things that they like to do. If you don't have anything in common with them, especially when they start getting, 10, 12, they start kind of getting their own ideas about things, then you pursue their interests. I wasn't into gaming. My son was really into computers and gaming, so if I wanted to spend time with him, I could force him to come out into the shop and to do the things that I want to do, but he was never happy doing that. He would do it, but it was just to appease me. And I finally realized, well, their kids are people too, and look at their interests and create an environment where you can show interest to participate in things that they like to do as well. I think that's important. But good question. Thank you for that. Let us proceed. The best AR stock? The best AR stock is the LMT SaBBaTh. That's the best. B3 makes a version of it, which is essentially the same thing for half the price. But if you want to be with the cool kids, you get the one that's made by LMT, the OG. No, I'm not going to be ready for the Desert 100. I think is that the one I did last year? I'm still too banged up from that one. I got to do a top end on my bike. I was actually thinking about doing it today, maybe, or tomorrow. Yeah, I've never done the poker run. I did one poker run years ago. That's not really my thing. I'd rather just do the main race. You are welcome, Kendall. I fully intend on organizing some. I'm in the rocks again. Some dual sport races, or not races. Some dual sport rides that I'm going to put together that will be invite only for the warband, so for members. So if you'd like to participate in one of those, and I'll show you some of the most beautiful country in the world. If you'd like to participate in those, they're not going to be advanced. If you can ride, you'll need to have a dual sport motorcycle that is 50-50 street, 50-50 dirt and gravel roads, but there'll be nothing technical. So if you're a new rider or you're not super experienced, you don't need to worry about getting it over your head. But it will be challenging, but not dangerous. Good grief. No, I'm not interested in reloading. Just not my personality. I've got a lifetime of ammunition. I don't need any more. My poor kids are going to have to figure out what to do with all of it when I shed this mortal coil. Yeah, the dual sport rides, the ones that I organize are going to be Oregon, Washington. I'm not opposed to coming out and participate if someone else wants to put one together in another area. I probably am not going to come on anything that's east of the Rockies. I'm going to come out. I've got a ride I'm doing that Overton's putting together in Montana. I'm not organizing it. I'm just coming out to be a participant. But yeah, our rides are going to be West Coast. Goodness, we have a super chat. We got to shut it down from our friend and brother, Mr. Jeff Bauer. Shout out to you, Jeff. Thank you for your generosity. Jeff writes, "Good morning, Cody. Have you made it up snow biking on Fuji yet this season? Looking forward to some footage." No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I don't feel like I'm in shape for it, to be honest with you. I'm still struggling with my monstrous finger. I don't have very good grip strength. I have a hard time holding on to anything anymore, so I've been working on that. Snow biking might be off the table for me this year. I plan on getting back on my dirt bike and riding a lot this summer. Yeah, Appalachia is too far to drive. You know, that's like 5 days of driving. I'm not trying to drive 5 days anywhere. That's a long haul. Would I do a hard enduro ride with technical stuff? Yeah, we do it regularly, but I'm really careful who I would put in that environment. It's not, you have to have a bike that's very, you have to have guys that really know what they're doing, or you can get into bad trouble in there. So I'm pretty particular. I'm not going to rule it out, but I would never open that up just to someone I don't know. It's just too dangerous and too much potential problems. Super chat from Mr. Nate. Shout out to you, Nate. Thank you for your generosity. Nate writes, speaking of dual, are you concerned about the Cat? I hear it has only a single alternator. Well, that's exactly why we've been having so many issues with the charging and all that. Had we dual alternators like the Super Duty, I probably wouldn't have had to replace that battery. You wouldn't even need a battery. The dual alternators would just start it on their own. They're so awesome. But that's a good take. Thank you for that. All I need to do is if I can see a picture of your motorcycle, in about 10 seconds I'll be able to tell if you would be someone that I would invite. I'm not saying that I'm the expert. I'm not the expert, but I've been riding up there for 20 years, and I've taken several different people and different bikes, and I've seen really good, competent, like motor riders get their asses handed to them. You know, hard enduro is just a whole nother level. And if your bike's not set up properly, and you don't have the right tires, tubeless, etc., etc., the proper protection, the bike's taking a terrible beating up there, then it's not for everybody. But if you're a hard enduro guy, I mean, you know. Do you think 300L can be set up for hard enduro bike riding? Absolutely not. No, not at all. That's a great motorcycle. I'm actually really seriously considering buying one. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna look at the Beta. The Beta's got a 350 out this year. It's gonna be supposedly competing with that. I'm gonna look at that. You're probably going to get more bike or more performance for a similar price, but we'll see. But the 300L is not a hard enduro bike, though. Not to say that it's not super cool, because it is. No, of course it's about the rider. Here's the worst thing about the internet, and I'm not blaming you, but it's kind of just brings it to my attention. You guys like to point out the exception. You make a statement like men are stronger than women every single time. Someone's like, not all. I know this woman that works for the fire department, and she can lift up, blah blah blah. We're not talking about the exceptions. Yes, you can go put Graham Jarvis on a 300L. And he's going to school all of us and all of our boys, right? Even though we have the best hard enduro bikes money can buy. We're not talking about that. We're talking about as a rule. The reason why you're not going to see anyone winning Romaniacs on a 300L. but it's still an awesome bike. But it's not made for that. Goodness, honk the horn. We got a super chat from our beloved Sam Kerrigan. Shout out to you, Sam. Thank you for your generosity. Sam says, any thoughts on the all-new battery outdoor equipment? Mowers, blowers, trimmers. Do you think I'm shooting myself in the foot for going for gas options? I don't think it's there yet. Is it cool? Is it getting there? Yeah, maybe. First off, it's disposable. You're going to pay the same price or more, and it's going to be disposable. 3 years. How long does a Roomba last? A Roomba is going to last, what, 2-3 years? How much longer is something that's going to be outside in the wet, in the dirt, in that environment? You know, so you could probably cut the life down in half, unless you're really up on maintenance. You know, maybe if you've got if you live in the suburbs and you have a little cookie cutter lawn or something like that. But if you're talking about, if you want a real piece of equipment that's going to be doing work, that's going to last for a while, that you can work on, repair, maintain, then I don't know. It's not for me. I would say that the power chainsaws probably this year, the next year or two, like the Stihl 300s or so. An argument could be made that that is an option, or at least another saw to add to your collection. I might consider. I think I like to have two saws. I like to have a big saw, like a big pro saw, then I'd like to have something smaller, like a 260. My 260 is getting pretty long in the tooth. It's got a lot of hours on it. I would strongly consider replacing that with an electric, like the 300, and try it out. Because I know some guys that has pretty good things to say about them. So I don't know yet. It depends. If you have a big piece of land, there's no business getting electric anything. If you live in the suburbs and you have a little grass patch, maybe. But thank you for that. Well, we also have a super chat from, hold on, I'm backing up here. Thank you for that, Sam. Honk the horn from Daniel Guzjek. Daniel writes, do you have any theories why sleeping in a truck running at around 1,000 RPMs is so relaxing? Just had a wonderful sleep in minus. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, I haven't done long haul trucking, so I can't really speak to that, but I have heard the same thing from people. And I think what it is, it's a male thing. There's something very satisfying about having a van or a truck or something, or even a log. You get the same thing from a log cabin or a canvas tent. If you can put something up or put yourself in an environment that you know that just in a matter of minutes you would perish, because it's such an austere environment where you can find yourself warm and comfortable under your blankets, maybe having a warm drink or coffee or something, and looking out the window and watching it rage outside is incredibly satisfying, because it's getting dominance over nature. It's exercising your ability to overcome something that's very dangerous, and there's something satisfying about that. So I don't know, maybe I also the diesel engine, the frequency of it is comforting, kind of that white noise. It's kind of like a hyper masculine version of a cat purring on your lap. You know how comforting that can be as well. So I'm not sure why that is, but it's definitely true. That I know I experienced the same thing. If you have, like when I built my adventure van, and I remember was up sleeping through a really gnarly storm, or when we take the mountain bikes up and it'd be 18 below zero and raging outside, and you've got all this good gear and your furnace is running and you've made all of the right decisions, so everything works and you're able to just to live normally and comfortably in this extreme environment. There's a lot of pride that comes from that. So I think that it's got to do with that a little bit. Goodness, we have a super chat from James Lewis. Shout out to you, James. Thank you for your generosity. James writes, Cody, I've been catching up watching the cabin projects. You have injury. If you have injury, look into Wolverine's formula. Just fixed tennis elbow. Okay, well, I don't know what that is, but I am going to take a screenshot and we'll come back to that. But thank you for that, James. I appreciate it. And we have a super chat from Matt Newton. shout out to Matt. Matt says, if you wanted to send, I wanted to send you a few things. What is the best way to do that? Just send me an email, cody@wranglerstar.com, and I can send you a P.O. box. Rod Swanson says, I'm currently riding a Sherco 300 TS. Your moto vids make me want to see the Pacific Northwest. That's a good bike. They're not very popular out here, the Shercos. They are, I actually, 2 years ago, I ran into a guy on a popular trail that we ride in over in Oregon. They were on Shercos, and we stopped and visited a little bit, and I asked him a lot of questions about his bike, and he really liked it. Him and his buddy. It seems the Sherco is going to be a little bit. It's going to be several years technologically behind a KTM or Husqvarna when it comes to like state-of-the-art fuel injection, state-of-the-art suspension, frame geometry, but it's going to cost less. And I think that they're still carbureted. I think maybe they still have kickstart. I'm not the expert on them, but they're cool. They're cool. I would never get into one because I don't know if we even have a dealer, and the access of getting parts is pretty important. Less than it was in the past. You know, I'm getting to the point now where I'm an experienced enough rider where I know what I'm going to break. I know what I need, and I have most of those things all stocked in my shop pretty well. So I have. It's not as important as it used to be, I guess. But I am going to be taking a look at the betas. I think. So I was looking at the 2025 KTMs. I have a pretty good dealer that's an hour here away from here, so I buy my bikes from. And these guys all ride, and they get it, man. They're all checked out. They know the good stuff. They're actually quite an asset. They run a race team, and so I go in there. I get good advice and I get a good education. So we were talking about this, looking at the KTMs. They recently, as of a couple years ago, brought on Beta, and Beta's Italian. And the Beta bikes are really, really, really nice. For about the same price as a KTM, you get a bike that has actually a lot more performance stuff on it. You get more performance, I think, and you get a company that's really, really hungry to satisfy and to build a really good reputation for customer service. He was telling me guys that had any problem whatsoever that it was taken care of immediately, even so far as Beta sending them brand new engines and really taking care of folks. So and then I also have some friends that are sponsored in race, hard enduro, and they're riding Betas. So I'm going to take a look at it. So before I pull the trigger on a 4-stroke bike for myself this year, I'm going to wait. There's 2 bikes that I want to look at. The one that's at the top of my list right now is the new Honda 300L. And I do a lot of customizing on that suspension, and I would do a lot of work to it. The second bike on my list is I want to see the new Beta 350, which is going to be a dual sported street legal bike. I'm hot to see that. And I want to see the KTM 390 Adventure. And then those are the kind of the 3 that I'm interested in. Ron is currently riding the Sherco 300. Yeah. Well, Ron, if you want to join one of our rides, become a member. And as soon as, our rides are going to be a little bit later, and they're going to be early summer because we're up in the mountains. We have to wait for the snow to melt out before the passes all open up. So Brian and Mr. Peter and I, the War Band, will be pushing up in there, pre-riding everything, and as soon as it opens up, then we'll start organizing some rides. But you're not going to want to miss that. That's going to be an event. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let us proceed. It is the Sabbath day. So if you have any Bible or biblical questions, I'd like to make an extra effort to get to or answer any of those the best that I can. Not a theologian, but we could probably, between all of us here, could come up with an answer to your problems. Goodness, we have a super chat from Mr. Eli Hudson. Shout out to you, Eli. Thank you for your generosity. Eli writes, did you get my email yesterday? I did some more thinking last night and I wanted to apologize. What I asked feels wrong coming from me. No, I did not. I haven't looked at my emails. I don't know. If you want to repost that, I'm not sure what it's about. Give me the information here. We can address that right now if you want to. I'm not sure what it's about. Saturday is not the Jewish Sabbath. Saturday is the Sabbath of the Almighty. It's the Catholic that changed the day of worship from Saturday to Sunday. And the Protestants have fallen in line. So you're not going to con me with that. I know my Bible. I do think the Sabbath is a salvation issue. Yes, I do. The more and more I think about it. Now remember, there's three things inside the Ark of the Covenant. What are they? Aaron's rod, a bowl of manna, and the actual stone 10 Commandments written with the finger of God. God wrote them with his own hand. The fourth commandment is the only one that starts with remember. Why? Because he knew that in the end times that there would be forces that would work very hard to confuse the Christian church, the saints, to worship on the wrong day. If you think days don't matter, then just go ahead and forget your wife's anniversary, your anniversary with your wife, and forget her birthday and see how that goes along. And I don't mean to be irreverent, but days do matter. And why did he say remember it? He said remember it, and why that's the only commandment that starts with remember, because he knew we'd forget about it. You want to do an interesting study, go look at the 10 Commandments of the Jews and the Protestants, and then go look at the 10 Commandments in the Catholic's Bible, and you will see that they changed them. And the Protestants have fallen in line. So do I think it's a salvation issue? Yes. Will there be people in the kingdom that keep the Sunday Sabbath, or their Sunday Sabbath, the first day of the week, instead of the seventh? Yes, there will be. But there comes a time where if this knowledge is brought to your attention, like it was to me, the decision will have to be made. And you make a decision. Once if you know it's right to do something, but you continue to do wrong, well then that's a whole other deal. It's very different than doing something when you're in ignorance. But yes, I do. And because of that stance is why I've lost so many friends and acquaintances and am unwelcome in many churches and gatherings. But whether I should serve God or man, judgest thou thee. I sure hope there's nothing to gobble up here in the way. Take it slow. Do I think the ark is in heaven? That's a very good question. So D. Cooker says, do I think the ark is in heaven? Do I think there's something in Revelation that mentions it is one of in John's visions? No, I don't think so. I know what you're referring to. So right before 70 AD, the Romans came in and finally had enough of the Jews' shenanigans and laid Jerusalem to waste and tore down the temple. It was so complete that there was not one stone left standing upon another, just like the prophecy foretold. So this was a long time coming. 70 AD this happened. Legend has it, and the church fathers, most of them believe, that the instruments that were used in the worship in the temple, all of the candelabra, you know, these were all made out of gold. You can go and read about the description of them in the Old Testament. It's all laid out what they were. Legend has it that they were carried and put in a chamber somewhere, maybe somewhere around the Mount of Olives. You know, I mean, there's some crazy conspiracy stuff out there. There's a lot of symbolism. Some people will say that They may be buried under the very area that Christ was sacrificed on the cross, and that his blood actually was shed and ran down through the rocks and lighted on the top of the Ark of the Covenant. Who knows? These are all very mysterious things. The Ethiopians, I believe, or there's a very ancient Orthodox church in Africa that claims that they actually have it, but no one's seen it. But you can't trust those Ethiopians. You know, who knows? That sounds mysterious to me. I would have to say that it's probably buried somewhere in a cave, in a tomb, somewhere around the Mount of Olives, if I had to guess. Will it be discovered? Whoa, wouldn't that be something? That would be the greatest archaeological find of all times. Let me ask you this. If you were the one that discovered it, and you break open the seal or you break it over the door, are you going to go over there and touch it? I know I wouldn't. Remember what happens to people who touch it, right? Irreverently. So I don't know. Will we see it? Will it be discovered? Who knows? Wouldn't surprise me. We live in interesting times. We have a super chat from our brother Kiefer Rector, who writes, "Thank you for all your wisdom. The last 5 years for me, I'm changing careers. Any particular advice or business you would recommend starting?" Oh, there's so many opportunities right now. My son Jack has just started a small business doing pressure washing. I know guys that are renting out trailers. They're doing really good box trailers. I know guys that are starting businesses getting a box trailer and advertising, and you go and you park your trailer at people's house. A lot of like boomers that are dying that have been hoarders. There's a lot of them out there, and so the family doesn't know what to do with all the stuff. So there's some guys doing pretty well where you go and you put a box trailer at their house for a week, and they just load it all up with things that they don't want. And a lot of that stuff can be resold on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. So there's all sorts of opportunities. If I was going to get back into trades, I think really the goal is going to be in the skilled trades. HVAC, electrical, electrician, plumbing, those sorts of things. Small business where you have yourself, maybe your wife does the books, maybe you hire an apprentice, just a small business, one-man shop. You can make $250,000 a year doing that. So I would look at skilled trades. You know, things that AI can't do. AI can generate creative work. AI can write stories, write code, can do all those engineering type of tasks. But it can't go out and fix a broken heater coil. It can't go out and glue up a PVC joint. Not yet, anyway. So those are going to be safe. Those skilled trades that are required to keep things running are going to be in demand, in my opinion. Is that right? Please shed light on the Baptist. Let's see. Who claimed they touched it? Oh, I missed that. I don't know who Ron was. Yeah, anyone that claims that they have found the Ark of the Covenant that can't produce a picture and claims that they touched it, that sounds like nonsense to me. Ron Wyatt? I don't know who that is. $5. I'd do it for free. am not a 7-day Adventist, no. Hopefully we don't fall in the river. Yes, it is cold. About 34 degrees cold. I'll be getting back to the cold plunges. No, I wasn't doing. I quit when I got sick, and I was not up to it for it. And then we traveled a bit. Then I went down to Mexico. Then I came back and got sick again. So I've not been doing it, but I will be getting right back to it. It's been about 4 or 5. It's been weeks. Have a nice weekend, Chevy. Thanks for hanging out with us. No, I don't have any plans on relocating. There's no place I'd rather be. Where else am I going to go? I just can't imagine living anywhere else. This is all I'd ever dreamed of. We have not really settled on the scripture of the day, but leave it up to the war bands to always drop the right scripture at the right time. Yeah, Mrs. W's got me taking vitamin D. She's all of that. The Sweet Loaf is doing good. She's playing basketball. We have a national champ, or girls soccer, high school girls have a really good basketball team, so they have a really strong program here. So they have a little basketball camp that we'll be taking her to today. Last Saturday was the first one. Good morning, Benton Outdoors. The difference between raising a daughter and the son is pretty tremendous. I would say I'm not as hard on her as I should be, because it's hard to look into those little brown eyes and just not be melted. She really wraps me around her finger, so I have to be very deliberate. And that's probably too hard on Jack, because we expect more from our boys. But a lot of that comes out of the generation that we were raised up in. You know, we had boomer parents, and guys, you were always, it was shameful to show your emotions, and you had to suck it up and figure it out and be tough, and the girls were always coddled a little bit more, and I'm definitely a product of that, for right or for wrong. I think Canada should become the 51st state. Yeah, I think that would be the best decision they've ever made. You know, we really loved we have really loved our Canadian friends for a long time, until they started getting uppity. It started 20, 30 years ago, where they started to embrace leftist politics and started to put on airs, thinking themselves to be more progressive and more enlightened and the nicer version of America, you know, and really thumbing their nose at all of the things that we have done for them, i.e. subsidizing them and protecting them. And, you know, they've got the greatest border wall in the world, you know, America. They live under the protection of our nuclear dome. And they, but then they put on airs, and then they talk trash, and then they act elitist. And, you know, that's really kind of put us off. You know, we never really looked at them as our equal anyway. And when they put on airs, it's galling to the Americans. So I'm all for it. Bring them into the fold. 51st state, add a star to it, and let them start reaping the benefits of all that we can offer. So yeah, you know, the way they roll over for the letting their gun rights being taken away, the way that they kept that little Castro in office for so many years, you know, that it made their bed, they can lie in it. If they want us to come save them, then they're going to have to eat some crow. Yeah, South Park summed it up. And then they inflicted us with Justin Bieber and Alanis Morissette. You know, they need to make reparations for that. Among other, what other Hollywood lefties have they plagued the Americans with? I don't know Michael Bublé. They've behaved very badly towards us for some time. And something that the press seems to overlook, and no one mentions, is they've had punitive tariffs, but they've had tariffs on us and our products have been very punitive, much more severe than what we've asked of them. But no one talks about that. They can protect their own things, but the moment we want to start doing it, then they cry foul. And they don't have anything that we need, to be honest. And to be honest, our timber is way better than their timber. We have more timber than, just as much, if not more timber than they do, and better timber. It's just been locked up by the EPA, but it seems that might be changing. If I were the king, I would open up our forests to selective logging, dealing with the wildland fire problem, teaching a trade to younger people. We'd have our forests and our hiking trails and our lodges and all that would be the gold standard. Even Switzerland would be envious. Yeah, and I would stop an export of all of our best timber going to Japan and China. You know, we send our best stuff, all is exported overseas. And we got 2x4s coming out of Canada, when we could be buying them from our own mills right here, but instead they go to China. That's all changing, though. That's all changing. Canada needs to get with the program. They're totally screwed. Yeah, 2x4s. Well, no doubt here, we've always had pretty good 2x4s. Sometimes I've even, at Home Depot, I've gone through the pile and even found clear Doug fir and hemlock 2x4s that I bought up and used for nicer things. Thoughts on Aurora, Colorado? Well, I think it's good that they went over there and arrested all of those gang members. I'm all for that. Plans for livestock? No, I don't want any livestock. I'm surrounded by livestock. We have a butcher across the street, hundreds of cows. We do our thing and they can do their things. It is, yeah, nice to have Doug fir 2x4s. It is they are the best. Hemlock's pretty good too. Not as nice as Doug fir, but still pretty good. It'll be interesting to see some radical changes within the EPA that will really open up the forests. Oh yes, we have beautiful dry snow today. Animals make you a prisoner on your own land. Man, that is so true. That's exactly why I don't have them. That's very well said. Yeah, my neighbors are all dairymen, and that's rough. It doesn't matter what the situation is. I don't care if it's 18 below. You have to go out there every day, twice a day, and take care of those animals or they'll perish. A good place to start if you're looking for land is get the book written by Joel Skousen called Strategic Relocation. And he rates all the 50 states according to how suitable they are to have a homestead in. And that's a good place to start. You may say that about cows, but I know better. I have all my neighbors and friends have cows, and regularly we see on the Facebook page, oh, cows got out, cows are in the road, you gotta drop everything, go find them, go load them up in a trailer, or spend all day driving them back on a quad. Oh, it's a tremendous amount of work. Let's call it what it is. They are mischievous, yes they are. Horses are even worse. Horses are much worse. Oh, my neighbor has a big horse boarding facility and she caters to these privileged white Western women with their fancy horses. These $100,000 horses. You want to talk about a money pit? My goodness, from the vet bills and to their fancy organic food, to the constant horseshoes, the constant maintenance. Oh my goodness. Not on your life. Go ahead, get all the horses you want. Motorcycles are reliable, rideable too, and when you turn them off and put them in the barn, there is no more maintenance. You don't have to feed them. Colorado, I lived in Colorado for a year, so I get it. I'm not a fan of Colorado. I find Colorado to be a very lonely city, or a lonely state. It's super transient in that a lot of people come and go from other places and they don't seem to stay. A lot of that has to do with the tourism as well. It's hard to make friends there. Colorado, it's very liberal and progressive, and it doesn't have an ocean, so it's not a proper West Coast state. No, it's okay. I would actually prefer Utah over Colorado 10 times over. It's okay. There's too much government there too. What happened to the video grounding my bed? It's on my channel. It's on my TikTok channel and my YouTube channel. That's one of those, that's a troll asking a question, trying to do a getcha on me. What they really are asking is they couldn't find it, so they assumed that I took it down, and they want to know, if I feel so strongly about that, why did I take it down? It's a passive-aggressive gotcha attempt. But I didn't take it down, it's still there. Yeah, my finger's all messed up, Bill. What is that now? Cody has a bad finger, and yeah, I fractured this finger on that dirt bike crash here, and I can't squeeze it. I can't squeeze anymore, and it's there's a whole bunch of bone mass in there. I look like a monster. I used to have perfect hands. No more hand modeling for me, but it's yeah, I can't move it like the other ones, and my grip strength is just 50%. Feels like 50% of what it used to be, and I drop everything all the time. So it was a bad injury. I'll never be the same, especially when it comes to doing really detailed work like fiddly work, woodworking. What dual sport would I recommend? I'd recommend the Honda 300L is what I would recommend. 5500, 5600, brand new, excellent motorcycle. Honda reliability, bulletproof, super low maintenance, and a very handsome machine. Beautiful motorcycle. Now I'll just have to develop, overcome the hand injury by just doing it, but I fully plan on getting back in the saddle 1000% when the snow melts. I'll just adapt. I'll keep good sticky grips on it, make sure I've got good riding gloves, and do everything I can to. But really, I've advanced in riding now, where having a grip on the bike with my hands is nowhere near as important as it used to be. I've learned to hold on to the bike with my legs, so it's not as important. Yeah, I've seen the new cat steers. There's some major changes. I watched a video this morning of a little review, I think, of the 267, and it's super nice. A lot of wonderful improvements. A lot of nice improvements for ease of maintenance. For example, I saw you could take the battery out. They moved the switch that I struggled with the other day. And also they went to full joystick, electronic joysticks controls, which are really nice. Goodness, we have a super chat from James Lewis. Shout out to you, James. James says, thank you for your generosity as well. James says, I will email you details of the formula later today, hopefully. Okay, I'll look for that. Thank you for that. All right, let us proceed. I'm not going to get into the Trinity discussion because those are deep waters that I would need to be able to focus all my attention on. And when I'm plowing around the house, my attentions are divided, and I just can't do it proper justice. I'm not saying it's not important, I can't lend the attention to it that I need to. We have a super chat from our brother Dylan. Shout out to Dylan. Dylan says, biblically, should we help families with stunted, continually sick children living in extreme filth if the parents don't take initiative to better their situation and are ungrateful for our help? Yeah, that's a tough situation to be in, especially when kids are involved, because that really, really pulls your heartstrings, especially if you have your own, and it's so unfair to the kids as well. You know, in Christ says when addressed with the situation, I'm going to speak as I think right here. You know, how do we deal with that? What example do we have from the good book to deal with this situation that can help us? Right before Christ was crucified, he was in a dinner with a big group of people. His disciples were in attendance. And Mary came, a former prostitute, if memory serves. She came and she broke a wooden box that was full of very costly, a perfume or a scented ointment. Very, very precious, very valuable. This is something that she had been saving. Maybe it was something that one of her sugar daddies had gifted her. Regardless, it was of great value. She falls on her knees before Christ. She breaks this open and she starts anointing and washing his feet with this anoints his feet with this costly oil. She is crying tears of gratitude and humbling herself before the Master. Judas, one of the disciples, the one that ultimately betrayed Christ, makes a big stink about this. He's like, oh, what a waste. You know, he was the one that was in charge of keeping the money bag. There were people that wanted to donate to the cause when Christ had his ministry, and they would donate so that the disciples could continue to do the work, so they could eat and buy food and whatever the things they needed. They would even disperse the donations to those that were in need, whatever. You know, they passed the hat. He's all up in arms about this, and he says, oh, why is this woman wasting this? Could this not have been sold for a great amount of money, and instead of wasting it on your feet, we could have all this extra money to do good with it? And Christ kind of rebuked him and said, you know, the poor you have always with me. She's done a right thing. She's honored me knowing that I won't always be here. You know, so the poor you'll have always with you. And then I've always implied from that is that, you know, you can't save all of them. You're always, even if you are able to save these kids and make a difference, it's not going to make a big dent. You're going to always have people in need. So what do? You know, do you try to save them all? You really, I guess the way that I look at it, your first obligation is to take care of you and your own. You got to put that mask on the airplane when they fall down so that you can breathe, so then you can put the mask on other people who can't do it. So with that being said, you know, you got to kind of start with that. But we're also instructed to cast our breads upon many waters. We have an obligation. Once that is done, and you're providing a roof over the head of your own children, that they are fed and that they're being taken care of, then out of that, then you start looking to other people. But there also comes a time where if you've tried to work with someone, and you've given them money, you've given them encouragement, you've ministered to them, that all of your advice and all of your resources are being squandered and falling on deaf ears, there comes an obligation that you have to be a good steward of the things that God has given you, and not be casting your pearls before swine, as the good book puts it. Remember that even Christ says, I stand at the door and knock, meaning that I will come to you throughout the years when you're on the wrong path, when you're not near to me, and I will stand there and I will try to knock on the door of your heart, but only you can open it. But after a while, that knocking will cease. And even God realizes there's no point, where he'll have to eventually just give up on you and leave you to pay the price for your own sin. So even he will give up on folks. He instructed disciples. He said, I want you to go into the cities 2 by 2. This was when he was setting up the early church after he was crucified and resurrected. I want you to go to the cities, and I want you to share the gospel with them. If they hear you, if they accept you, then enter into their homes and let the peace of the Holy Spirit be upon these people, and let them benefit from the gospel and the peace of the Holy Ghost. But if they will not receive you, in other words, if they will not invite you into their home, if they will not listen to the gospel, I want you to shake the dust of your feet off on them and move on to someone that will listen. Give them a certain amount of time. But when the message is not being received, when they're not bearing fruit of the Spirit, there comes a time where you need to shake the dust of your feet off on them. That was a custom at the time. The Jews and the Samaritans lived together in the old Holy Land, but there was a lot of racism between the two people. The Jews considered them to be the pure seed, the pure children of Israel, the children of Abraham, where the Samaritans were to a certain extent. They also claimed Abraham as their father, but they'd been intermingled with other races, and so the Jews looked upon them with racism and bigotry as not being pure and unclean. And so the Jews, when they would have to travel from point A to point B and walk across Samaritan land, or the land of the barbarian or the Roman or whoever was a non-Jew, it was customary for them at the border to shake off the dust of their feet from these heretics so that you didn't defile the land of Israel. So it was a symbolic custom of defilement. So even Christ used this. He brought it forward and said, go to them, share with them the gospel, share with them maybe even tithes and offerings. But if they won't hear it, then you need to move on to someone that will hear it. So there's a limited time. What that is, you'll have to judge. You know, and it's further complicated. When Peter came, Peter comes to Christ one day, and he says, so my brother sins against me. How many times should I forgive him? 7 times? And Peter liked to get attention. He's like me, he likes to speak before he thinks. He was a man of passion. I wonder sometimes if he wasn't doing a little humble bragging sometimes. How many times should I forgive my brother who sins against me? 7 times? You know, he throws out a great number, because it'd be quite a thing to forgive someone that's betrayed you 7 times. Let's say your brother has stolen money from you 7 times. Is Peter throwing that out to be pious in front of his friends? I don't know. But I think, and I don't have a scripture for this is my think so, but I think it was a little bit of a gentle rebuke when Christ replied to him, no, Peter, I don't tell you 7 times, I tell you 7 times 70. A great number. Like, can you imagine forgiving someone that truly betrayed you, tried to harm you, tried to have you thrown in jail, whatever, tried to take away your freedom, stolen money from you? Can you imagine forgiving him 7 times, 70 times? So those seem at conflict with one another. Here we're told not to cast our pearls before swine, that there is a limit upon God's grace. He won't always stand at the door and knock, but then we're asked to forgive 7 times 70. So it all comes down to, for me, it all comes back to, how are they receiving it? Are they incrementally improving? Maybe not up to your standards, but is it rubbing off on them? Are they maybe starting to repent and turn away from some bad habits, even though it's not as quick or as complete as you would hope? So check your expectations. Also understand what they're dealing with. You know, they have been given probably a pretty crummy machine to work with, riddled with generational curses, riddled with poor parents. They're probably repeating a cycle that was shown to them. So they may not have all the tools, so you have to give some grace when it comes to that. But I would say that my test would be, if I don't see small steps of improvement, people turning away from past sins, then you got to get to the point where you might have to shake off the dust of your feet, as hard as that is. But again, it depends on the situation. We have a super chat. Shout out to you. Thank you from Josh C, who says, Mrs. W is leaving in 5 minutes. She wants to know if I want to go with him. Where is she going? So early. What time is it? Yes, I do want to go with him. All right. Well, can you tell her that I will? I'm going to park and find out where we're going. I don't know. We can always do this. Yeah, that's a tough situation. I don't know if that helps or not, but when we run into these thorny situations, where the safest ground that we can fall upon, or we can, I guess, stand on, is looking for scriptural references or examples that are similar to guide us. That's why it's so important to know the scriptures. And for young men, when you're dealing with all sorts of difficult situations and moral dilemmas, oh, there she is.
We're going to basketball. No, 90-10. You want to join us? Come over. Okay.
Proverbs. And King Solomon lived life larger than any rap star or rock star or president or dictator. He lived larger and did more than any one of these guys, like a Diddy or a Hugh Hefner. He had 300 wives of the most beautiful women in the world from all over the world, and 700 concubines. 700 baby mamas. He was so wealthy that, as he said, that silver was as of no value. There was so much of it, and piles of gold. He built kingdoms, he built gardens. No man has ever had more wisdom supernaturally given to him by God. No man has partied more or lived larger. King Solomon says, at his peak, whatever my heart desired, I didn't withhold it from anything. I experienced every single thing that the world has to offer. All of the drink, all of the debauchery, the most beautiful of women. I have done it all. I have built, I've adventured, I've collected gold, rubies, treasures, whatever. It makes no difference. And at the end of that, do you know what his conclusion was? That where true happiness is after all of that experience? I'll just paraphrase here, but it was basically this. He found that the best thing that a man can do is to eat, to enjoy his food, to enjoy his drink, and spend time with his friends and family in so doing. That's where true happiness was. Be around people, to enjoy everything, and just to enjoy life. There's so much advice in there on dealing with women and relationship issues and the threat of loose women and getting involved with women with the Jezebel spirit and with whores and how they will drag your soul to hell. Man, there's so much advice in there that was learned the hard way that guys don't know, and so they have to reinvent the wheel and repeat this and let their own life be wrecked for 20 years. In that 20 years, you could be building 20, 30, 40, so that you can retire when you're 45 or 40 or 38, because you waste so much. I'm the chiefest that it wasted so much time, You know, now you find, you know, when you're getting to the point where you really, you know, could start enjoying your life, now that's when you have to put your head down and start correcting all the mistakes and make up for all that wasted time. So there's a lot of wisdom in the Proverbs that from King Solomon, especially for a young man. So whenever we're answering these Bible questions, I guess I'm ranting here, but what we try to do is go to the scriptures and see if you can find an example, and that's when you're on safe ground. Be careful with any man's think so. You know, we can postulate and we can use our intellect to take what we read and try to apply that to today the best we can, but always try to make your truth rooted in the scriptures, and that's the safe way to go. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to shut it down. Jump in the truck. I want to catch the Sweet Loafs basketball, and we'll see you guys on the next stream or video. We have a very good unboxing. I have a very interesting and amazing knife, a special knife that Mr. Barr has sent me that we're going to sit down and we're going to really geek out on this, because it's unlike any knife I've ever seen, and I like it. It was, again, very similar to my experience with knives that Jason sends me from Ridge Runner Blades. The moment I saw it, I didn't like it. Like, oh, what is this? This is not something I would ever want. And I didn't even want to do a video on it. But I stopped and I said, wait a minute. I trust Mr. Barr. He seems to have a read on these things, and he sees things that I don't see. And I need to reserve judgment. Let's live with this thing for 48 hours. And I did. I carried it all around yesterday. I've sat with it for hours and hours. I've pondered. I've looked at it. I've thought about it. And I've had a complete 180 on my take and its usefulness. And I want to go into great detail over this and why I think this is an interesting knife. So that is coming, and I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to sit down by the fire, and it might be a half hour. It might be an hour. But we're going to do that because it's fun. We like to do those things. Thank you for those who super chatted. I am out.